When Grand Theft Auto 5 first came out, it took me around 30 hours to beat, which, realistically, was only about 4 or 5 days of grinding, and I honestly had a pretty thorough playthrough, checking out a lot of the side missions and other stuff that the game had to offer. That's right, the thing I waited 5 years for was already over just a couple of days after buying it. And the same can kind of be said about every entry in the Grand Theft Auto series. They're all amazing games that still hold up to this day. I mean, there's a reason the franchise is so popular, but when it comes down to it, you're not going to be able to keep playing the campaigns over and over again. There's something you can come back to every couple of years for another playthrough, revisiting the good old memories. However, eventually, you just need to do something different. But GTA Online exists, so that's okay, right? This is where it gets interesting, because although I've sunk a lot of hours into it at this point, I don't find myself constantly going back to it like some of the other games I play. You could say that I'm just a grinder, and I've played way too much, but there's so many other games I've played way more, and I've never really ran into these issues. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way, so there has to be something else. I wanted to use this video as an opportunity to kind of analyze the game and lay out some of my thoughts to figure out, like, what is it? Why does GTA, and more specifically, why does GTA Online get boring so quickly? First of all, we all remember the feeling of loading into GTA Online, having dreams of making millions of dollars, and buying all the cars, super yachts, and businesses you can dream of. To try and recapture this feeling, I decided to start a fresh account to get the full experience again, and figure out where it all goes wrong. Which is difficult at first because, I mean, just looking at the map, there's a lot of stuff to do, even without friends. Which is important, right? Because for a game that's been around for 11 years, there's bound to be times where your friends aren't playing, or they may have just flat out quit altogether. Rockstar honestly makes it pretty easy to start off, which is nice in a way. You can hop on as a level 1, raid a stash house, buy a couple guns, get some free cars and a garage, and then you can start making some serious money through the Cluck and Bell raid. It's pretty much a mini heist where you prep by stealing some guns and other gadgets, eventually going on to steal a bunch of coke, and at the end of it all, you get a nice payday of 500 grand. But this isn't as good as it seems. I did have a lot of fun doing this the first time, and even the second time, but after that, simply put, nothing changes, and it just ends up being a painfully boring grind to the finish line. So you may ask, why not just do something else? And you're right, I guess. But here's the problem. If you grind out the Cluck and Bell a few times and do the first dose missions, you're going to be able to start the Cayo Perico heist. And that's a problem, because the Cayo Perico heist is essentially the equivalent of beating the game. Here's what I mean. The first dose missions, you pretty much join a gang, carry out some robberies, and do some other stuff for them. Try some quote-unquote product for them. And while doing this, you get paid a bunch of money. But then, here I was, shortly after starting my account, buying the Casaca and starting the Cayo Perico heist. Think about that. Within 24 hours, you already have access to the best way to make money in the game. Why would you do anything else? There's literally no reason to. And by the way, I thought this was worth mentioning quickly. The hacking problem on PC is pretty bad, and unfortunately, this guy leveled me up a bunch and added some cash to my account, but luckily, I got all this footage in time to still make my point. So I'm now doing the Cayo Perico heist, getting ready to raid a private island, and doing the setups. They're pretty typical. You just go around stealing some weapons and some other gadgets that are going to help you during the heist, and it's all fun, but the problem is, the heist really isn't that hard. To be fair, I'd already done this a couple of years ago, but I remember even on my second playthrough, I'd pretty much mastered all of the setups, quickly flying around and getting them done. And for the finale, I already had the perfect route to go completely undetected. Like, I even remember being able to sit next to one of my friends on his Xbox and walk him through exactly how to do it on his first try. I could now just rinse and repeat this heist for easy money all the time. Nothing else in GTA Online pays anything close to it, so it's all kind of just a waste of time. In my eyes, I had already beaten GTA Online within a day and a half of playing. And the economy's just kind of busted, and the game just rewards doing the same thing over and over again. It's honestly really boring. Also, holy crap, like, you'd think they'd at least make the missions a little more dynamic. I've heard this idiot say the same shit like 50 fucking times.
You Americans with your self-sufficiency, infiltrating private islands on your own.
In Russia, we bring friends, and our friends bring bags. Now I know, There's a bunch of stuff to spend your money on, but it's all kind of just cosmetic. The yachts serve no purpose except looking cool. The casino penthouses do let you play $50,000 hands of blackjack, but no matter how terrible this sounds, I've gambled real money before in real life. I don't really care what happens on Grand Theft Auto. So with that all being said, I do believe I have a fix. Something that would prevent people from getting bored and essentially beating the game so quickly, while actually allowing them to have a lot more fun. Now, before I say this next part, I do want to talk about the modding support and letting people make their own custom servers, because I think that's actually the most important thing moving forward. But I think with all we've been talking about so far, it makes sense to bring this up now, because unlike the single player version of Grand Theft Auto, there really isn't a storyline that you're forced to follow. There's just a bunch of little ones scattered into different areas, but to be honest, the gameplay and the cutscenes and stuff, it's just a lot less polished than story mode. Like, you're not really going to see any of the big explosions or animations we're used to, you know, unless you count any of the cutscenes that they reuse from the story mode. And you can't really blame Rockstar because, I mean, GTA Online isn't necessarily meant to be a story game, but, I mean, come on. Story modes have always been a lot of fun. Like, there's something about them and the personalities of the characters, and it just kind of makes it like sitting down to watch a movie, but you actually get to control what's happening. Like, seriously, whenever somebody tells me they love GTA Online, but they tell me they've never played the story mode, I look at them like they're fucking crazy, and it happens a lot more often than you would think. So, wouldn't it be awesome if there was a full-on story mode, not only in single player, but also online, to be able to play with your buddies? There'd still be payouts like normal story modes and the other missions in online, but a story would take away the frustration of the low-paying missions, because there's a reason to play them. They actually add something to the plot, and each one of them has their own individual cutscenes and gameplay that just makes it all funny and interesting. This way, you wouldn't also be able to immediately get everything you wanted. Like, if you wanted to get access to the cayo perico, for example, you'd have to go through a bunch of story missions before being able to purchase the casatka. Or, if you wanted to open up a nightclub, you'd have to go through the story until you meet the guy who manages them and can help you start it up. This would also give a lot more meaning to the people who you're working with, because, honestly, a lot of the time in GTA Online, these people just seem to show up out of nowhere, and they just give you an opportunity to make millions of dollars. Maybe I'm underestimating how hard it is to make an actual story mode, but come on, it's Rockstar we're talking about. It's not like they don't have the resources or skills to make it happen. And yes, you could argue the fact that GTA Online is so open-ended makes it great, and it gives you that uniqueness from the story mode, you know, being able to choose your own path. And you can still have a lot of open-ended content that's set aside from the storyline, but Rockstar spends so much time making all this different stuff for GTA Online, and a lot of it just goes to waste. I think a lot of people nowadays, you know, for any game, it's not just GTA, they end up just looking online for the easiest way to do stuff and the easiest ways to make money, so a lot of stuff just kind of goes to waste. Like I said, the developers spend a lot of time making stuff that's never really used. At the very least, give us another great story mode that we have to play through before we can just go off and find a huge moneymaker that allows us to grind for a couple days and pretty much have everything we want. And for everybody shouting at their screen, well, you know, there's death matches and races, like, what are you even talking about? But, like I said, I'd be able to look past all of this stuff if Rockstar hadn't completely left out modding from the game. I mean, it's super important. Roblox and Minecraft have arguably been the most long-lasting games in gaming history. And what do they have in common? Minecraft allows anybody to open a server for people to join, where, with the right knowledge of Java, you can essentially make whatever kind of experience you want. And Roblox, on the other hand, takes it a step further, providing their own development environment, where, yet again, like Minecraft, you can make any kind of experience you want. But unlike Minecraft, everything's already integrated into Roblox, and you can see all the different servers and games that they have to offer directly through the app, making the experiences smoother and a lot more accessible for casual people. Also, developers can make money when people buy stuff in their games, so it's a huge incentive to make games. And I don't want to go too deep in the technology of the two, but there's a lot of stuff that Roblox does that just makes it a lot better than Minecraft, and certainly a lot better than GTA, which doesn't really have either of these. GTA Online needs modding, and not the type that ruined my account earlier. There's a GTA Online content creator that allows you to make races and death matches and stuff, but in terms of writing your own code and making your own assets, other forms of customization, nothing like that exists that's supported directly by Rockstar. There is, of course, modded servers and mod packs and stuff, but these servers have a lot of issues with stability, and these servers have whitelists, and it's just a whole nother process downloading and setting up all this stuff to enjoy the mods. So it creates a big issue for GTA, and in my opinion, it's actually the biggest issue with GTA Online. It makes it just not that replayable, and it's something I've always thought about, even as a kid. I was always confused why games like Call of Duty never had modding support. I mean, it just seems like such an easy way to increase the amount of time people play your game, and the amount of content that's available, and inevitably, the amount of money you can make from your game. Like, imagine if you could hop into GTA Online and easily join a server where anything was possible. A new story mode that uses the GTA map, but, new characters, cutscenes, and heists and whatever, round-based zombies you could play with your friends, some other sort of stuff. Look, I don't have all the crazy ideas, but I'm just one person. I mean, if you look around on YouTube at all the mods that have already been created without the support of Rockstar, imagine what would happen if Rockstar actually supported it and the developers could get paid for people playing and spending money on their games. And by the way, while we're on the topic of money, the owners of Rockstar literally lose money most quarters. So getting a share of the profits from these developers instead of just relying on shark cards and, selling copies of the game, this could do really good for them in the long run. And this is the exact business that Roblox is building. Paying independent developers a lot of money to make games for them. And dude, some of these games are huge and they have millions of people playing on it. I mean, even in a recent interview, the CEO of Take-Two, which is again the company that essentially owns Rockstar, he praised Roblox's business model.
I mean, it could just be my opinion, but I get the sense that the love that people have for your guys' games are on a totally different level.
I think I'd love to agree with you. I think our competitors have some great titles too.
Yeah.
I mean, Fortnite's a great
huge
franchise.
Yeah.
Roblox is a great business.
Yep.
So again, I just get tired of the same old stuff in GTA Online, and what better way to fix that issue than to allow anybody that wants to make whatever they want to, do whatever they want. And again, I'm not suggesting that this is easy and it's an easy thing to implement, but for potentially the most beloved gaming franchise in history, I think it's something that needs to happen, and it's going to feel like a complete letdown if GTA 6 doesn't have this. With that being said, I am optimistic for GTA 6. Rockstar's had a really long time by now. I doubt the game's going to be a flop, and, I've been reading up on a lot of stuff with AI that'll randomly generate buildings and stuff like that, so maybe that'll make the missions more fun and, more dynamic, stuff like that. And again, I'd just be really surprised if we didn't see some sort of modding environment for GTA Online. I'm pretty much betting on that being a thing in GTA 6. But again, we'll have to see. And also, I'll just go back to the single player and touch up on it quickly, because I kind of just breezed through it at the start of the video. The story modes are great. Seriously, they're comparable to Hollywood movies, and it's one of those things where the games are so freaking massive that you can play it again and you're not going to remember every single little thing that happens, which helps to keep it fresh. But realistically, the problem is I'm not just going to play the same single player twice in 1 year, or maybe even 2 years. And maybe some people will, and that's great for you, but it's just not me. Also, I know some people really just enjoy messing around in single player, enjoying the world or going golfing, whatever it is. I've been playing San Andreas recently, and I gotta say, the environment's really impressive for how long ago this game was made. The casino, the gym, stuff like that. It's a nice little distraction, but it's not really something that I could just spend a lot of time on. I really think you need that multiplayer interaction with other people. Single player just gets boring after a while, and that's okay. So, what do you think of what I've said today? Has Cayo Perico and other stuff like that kind of ruined GTA Online? And would it be more fun if there was a story mode like there is in single player? And also, what do you think if there was like a modding system like Roblox where anybody could make games and stuff? I think it'd be really good. But let me know what you think in the comments, and of course, subscribe to help me feed my family.